Hello. So I wanted to do a lesson today about mindfulness, uh, negative thoughts when playing, and self-compassion. I've been recording a lot more videos recently, and yesterday I was recording a tune by Julian Lage called Day and Age, and about 3/4 of the way through, I just stopped playing out of anger and frustration, and I perceived it as going really poorly, and I thought I sounded bad, and so I just cut the song short and started doing other takes. And later that night when I was listening, that first take felt the most honest, and it felt the best, despite some of the mistakes and the lack of an ending. And I was upset because if I had finished that performance, I would have just posted it and been okay with a couple of the mistakes, because overall it felt good despite the mistakes. I was enjoying listening to it. And so it gave me this idea to talk about these negative thoughts that happen when we play. And I suffer from that, and I know lots of other people suffer from anxiety and not being too self-compassionate. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to play you the 3 minutes of the performance, and then afterwards I'm going to talk about what was going through my head, what went wrong, and some potential advice about how to be more self-compassionate and not let those negative thoughts control yourself or the music you're playing. So here's the performance. So what happened? Why did I stop playing? Before I get to talking about some of the stuff that was going around in my head and some of the anxiety I was feeling, I do want to point out that there was one technical thing that was preventing me from being more present, which was knowing the song really, really, really well. I hadn't played the song in a while, and there's a part on the bridge that I couldn't remember. This part, this chord, this C sharp minor triad, I was struggling to remember it. I think I might have played it as an A in the video, and it was bothering me as I was playing it, and I was upset at myself for not knowing it and for not remembering it. And so there's kind of two levels to this. One, we want to be as prepared as possible when you're about to perform or record something. So I should have made sure I really knew that bridge section before recording. And after I finished recording, I went through that section a few times, and just making sure you know the tune on a deep level. You know what chords are happening, what the melody is, being able to play it maybe in some different sections on the neck. That's really important. And then on the flip side, we are human, and sometimes we're going to forget things, even things that maybe we've played a lot. And I think in that moment, we really have to practice self-compassion and kind of have the mindset of like, well, maybe this isn't how the tune is supposed to go, but right now, this is how I'm playing the tune, and in this moment, this is how the tune is going. And kind of embracing that rather than getting upset or fearful. You can always go back later and figure out what went wrong and kind of shed the section of the tune that you forgot. But I think, so this is a Julian Lage song. If you go listen to Julian Lage play this song, you look up a bunch of live versions. He doesn't play the melody straight every time. He varies it. He improvises certain sections. He plays it differently every time. So why can't I play it a little differently, even if I didn't intend to? I think all the great improvisers, they kind of embrace whatever they're playing, even if they didn't intend to, because that's, I think, in the moment, the best approach you can take. And then, like I said, later you can figure out, what did I intend to do? And practice that. So that's one technical thing, like know the song, and in the moment try to be compassionate if you do forget something. But I think this is all part of a larger issue that I have myself, and I noticed that a lot of students have, which is frustration, anger, lacking self-confidence, and that causing the music to literally stop. And so how do we deal with that? So I find myself telling students a lot, try not to stop when we're playing through a piece. Like, try to roll with the mistakes, try to keep going, try to accept that moment in time has already passed and you cannot correct it, and it's up to you to try to make it better by maybe making the next moment make sense with the previous moment. I think, like I was saying, this is a skill that a lot of the great improvisers have and have developed over time. I mentioned Julian Lage. He was the composer of this song. I had the privilege of taking a lesson with him once, and he told me, I don't remember if he told me this during the lesson or if I heard it during an interview, but I heard him talk about self-deprecating thoughts and anxiety and frustration when you're playing, and he said that he did this exercise where while he was practicing, any negative thought he had in his head, he would write down on a notepad that he would keep right next to him. And after a while, when the notebook would fill up, he would read it out loud. And, it would be filled like, you suck, you're really bad, like, screw you, like all, probably worse than, I don't, and he said that when he would read it all in a row, it would almost make him laugh with how ridiculous it sounded, because he knew that he wasn't those things. And I think the point of the exercise was to demonstrate how absurd, like, all those thoughts are, and that they don't have to control you, and that they shouldn't control you. And I think this is a thing that a lot of people suffer with. And during the video, towards the end, I started to feel like my improvisation wasn't going anywhere, and I was upset at myself, and I was having thoughts like, you should be better than this. This shouldn't be as hard as it is. That wasn't very good. You should be able to play something more interesting than that. A lot of like should statements. You should be better. This should, sound a certain way. And then when I listened back to it, there was kind of some cool stuff. Like at the end of my solo, when I was on the A chord and I hit this harmonic, I did that out of frustration because I was just like done with myself in that moment. And then I did like this blues, some kind of blues lick, and over the A chord, that bluesy stuff, you're playing blues over the 4 chord, it always sounds good. And when I was watching the video, I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. And I was bummed out that I decided to just stop, And so I let those thoughts of like, this is not good enough, you are not good enough, this doesn't sound the way that it should, I let that actually stop me from finishing this piece that I ended up liking despite the mistakes. And I recorded a few more takes and they didn't have those mistakes in them, but it didn't feel as good to me. The first one felt really good. And so I know this is supposed to be a lesson. I guess I don't have a solution except that you have to keep trying to be more compassionate with yourself, be more accepting of what is coming out of the guitar or whatever instrument you play, because in that moment, that is what's happening. That is your expression. And we have to be kinder to ourselves when we're playing. And I think Julian is such a great example of that. I think maybe more than any other musician I've ever seen perform, he is so accepting of himself and compassionate with himself. And I feel like that you really get that when you listen to him. And one time I was talking to him after a show at the Village Vanguard, and I told him that the thing I admired most about his playing was how accepting he was of himself and how he seemed to never say no to any idea he had, even if it wasn't the best idea. He made it a good idea by just accepting, like, well, this is what's happening, I'm gonna go with it, no judgment. And he said like the kindest thing to me that I will never forget. It's stuck with me. He told me that he thanked me and he said, well, the fact that you can identify that in my playing means that you are capable of doing that too. Because if you can identify it in that specific of a way, you are capable of doing that. And, for him to just like throw that back at me, he didn't need to do that, and it really stuck with me. He's a super kind person, and yeah, and I just think that even though it's hard, we all have to try to keep striving for that no judgment when we're performing or recording. Save, save it for after. Not everything you play is going to be something you like. Not everything you play is going to be great, and that's okay. But save the opinions for after it happens. Finish what you're starting. So with that being said, I'm going to try to follow my own advice that I'm giving you a little bit better. And but yeah, I just wanted to make this video and to show that I'm struggling with this, and lots of other people are, and I think it's important for people to see it. So thanks for watching, and if you want to see more content, subscribe and check out some of my other videos. I'm going to be posting more lessons and performances, so thank you.